I didn't have any plan of doing this. It was like more like I'm done. I want to take a break. Every thought and action has a repercussion, and the more I kind of understood that, the more I stopped doubting, the more I stopped thinking so much. I think people have to be prepared for no's. I think people have to be prepared for saying work for free, especially in the beginning.
Hello, everybody. This is Shweta and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Climapreneur Show. We are back again with another powerful conversation. Our guest today is Sonya Vajifdar, an Earth advocate. Welcome to the Climapreneur Show, Sonya. I'm so excited to
Thank
have you
you.
here. And as you were talking, finally we could do this.
Yeah, we've really been trying to do this for a while now.
Okay, Sonia, we're gonna actually, set the atmosphere. I want to know from you, what is your favorite song?
So I really love the song Ain't No Mountain High because it always gets me in the mood to either shoot or work or just motivate me.
Sonia, tell me this thing that when was the last time you played this song, and why does this song give you the motivation?
So it's on my favorite playlist. So quite often, like even if I'm just relaxing at home or just need a break from the external noise, I don't know, it just puts me in a good mood.
Perfect. So now we're in the good mood, and I'm gonna start with Sonia. Let's for a second, forget how the world sees Sonia Vajifdar as. I want to know from you, Sonia, how does your heart, how does the voice of your heart define what you're doing, and what does the voice in your heart says about the work you're doing?
So, it's been such a drastic change from being a designer that created plastic raincoats to going into eco-friendly clothing, and then not finding that satisfaction with that much with designing anymore, and more with kind of marketing homegrown brands. So it's been a lot of changes in the past few years because earlier designing was completely my passion, and it really like motivated and pushed me. But I think the more I'm doing what I'm doing, the more satisfaction I'm feeling. And I think at the end of the day, it kind of boils down to that, right? You need to uh, pursue what you actually feel is right for the world and for yourself. So with that being said, it's not easy. It's a struggle. I know even with right now with influencing, a lot of homegrown brands are struggling for with marketing budgets, with getting their products out there. So there's always either some negotiating about pricing or basically not enough stock. So it's not like I've chosen the easy way out. In fact, I would say this would probably be tougher, but I feel like it's picking up a lot more after the second lockdown. I feel a lot of people have actually had the time to sit at home and now start new passions and homegrown brands from home, and they have actually learned to believe in themselves. So they really want to market their brands. So it's an ongoing journey. I don't know everything about sustainability. I don't think it's possible to be 100% sustainable. I'm learning with each brand I promote. But at the end of the day, I just feel like even if I've done two shots, I feel like, okay, I've read through the brand profile, I've felt it, I've touched it, I've used it, I've experienced it, and then I can actually talk about it. So I think it's really important nowadays for people to be as authentic as they can,
Yes.
and that's where I see my page going and increasing with more conscious people, DMing me and asking more questions, and it's just going in a direction that I'm really enjoying right now.
And at the end, I think this is what really matters, that you're enjoying the process, you're loving what you do. Because I understand, we often suffer a lot of struggles, there are a lot of hardships, sometimes it happens with us as well. There are days when I question that, how long do I have to struggle? Is this it? but I think at the end, your love for what you're doing, your passion, your thought really keeps you moving.
Absolutely.
Initially, I like when I started out, I thought that all these things were really bookish, that in books we
Yeah.
read about, just keep going. But now when you actually experience
Yeah.
it, I think you understand it. And
Yeah.
yes, Sonia, firstly, like, thank you for doing the work you're doing. We are extremely proud of you. And one very important point that you touched was authenticity. It is so important to be authentic. I feel that authenticity really connect hearts.
True. In fact, even with brands, I'm very particular to tell them that if you're sending me a beauty product, I can't have a deadline to post it, because unless I try it on my skin, and also your skin needs time to adjust, right? Whether it's organic, whether it's natural, you want to see effects before you're putting it out there to your viewers and your consumers. Because earlier, like, I used to get a lot of questions about, is it natural, means is it absolutely pregnancy friendly, and I can't give a guarantee for that unless the brand is like absolutely guaranteeing me that, right? There are things that you have to be completely sure of before saying. So I'm very, very particular about not being pressured to post under deadlines, not, actually living the slow life. If I'm saying that I'm advocating sustainability, it doesn't mean that, okay, I've got a brand campaign and these are the dates and I'm going to post it on those dates. It means that, okay, you're sending me a product, I'm going to try it. If there's some feedback, I'm also going to give you the feedback. And then once it starts working on my skin, even if it doesn't work on my skin, I'm still going to post it, but I'm going to give genuine feedback of what I liked and disliked about it. So uh, I always try to show the brand in a positive note. But if there is something negative, I have been very transparent about returning the pieces or saying I cannot do this work because it just does not fall into. And I had an experience like that recently where there was just too much pressure from a brand that I worked with, and I did the entire shoot. I spent a long Sunday doing the shoot, and then they wanted it in a particular way, posted at a particular time, and I just said, I'm just not. That's just not what I stand for. So it would be going against myself to do something like that. So I think authenticity right now is really needed, because you can't have if you have conscious consumers purchasing products that you're promoting, you can't be talking nonsense. You know what I mean?
What Tell me, Sonia, that like, how much courage does it take to be authentic? So for
Yeah.
you, what amount of courage did it took to take that step? And like, were people okay with you saying no to them? And did
I
you
mean,
like doubt
honestly,
yourself?
it's like an ongoing struggle, right? Because firstly, I've completely changed my profession. So that's like, I always get people saying, "Oh, but you're not going to design clothes again. What about the clothes?" And I had ordered a lehenga from you long ago. You're known as a designer. What is this influencing you're doing? Basically, that's one of the questions. The other thing is that it's it it's a struggle every day financially also, because you're dealing with brands who constantly are saying, where you're doing something for the good for the planet, I'm doing something good for the planet, let's both do it for free. But the point at the end of the day is, I am marketing your products for you. So ethically speaking, I should be paid for my time. I always tell them, if you're a small homegrown brand, I'm happy to support and promote you, and I will do it on barter. It's not that I've not done things on barter. But if the brand is a grown brand, which is, available in stores and is doing well, I feel like as an ethical influencer, I should not be backing down and saying that, okay, I'll do it for free, because every brand that I promote is doing something good for the planet. So it's not like, I'm picking and choosing. It's that I have to be fair to all the brands and to myself. So it is, like you said, it's an ongoing battle. Greenwashing is very real. In fact, recently I worked with a brand that did pods. Basically pods that you put in the washing machine. And all that packaging said eco-friendly, biodegradable, chemical-free, non-toxins. And 2 days later, I read an article about how these pods are actually greenwashing, and the outside cannot be dissolved. So and this is after I posted it. I've tried it. It dissolved in my machine. I used it for baby clothes. So I was very concerned then, that other chemicals going into it. So I contacted the brand and I was like, I need an explanation because I've already promoted y'all. And the brand was good enough to actually go into the entire ingredient list and tell me everything that they've used and how there are some pods that are not eco-friendly, but that they've worked really hard on their chemistry and basically to get it to be biodegradable and non-toxic. So it is a struggle because you don't want to put out something and then later being saying that it's not correct what you're doing. And the journey is absolutely real. Like, I've gone from ignoring plants outside my house to being like a avid watching my plants grow every day. I didn't have the time or interest to actually look at a chili plant growing on my balcony. And now I'm like completely obsessed. So it's literally like, it's a very gradual journey of and which also took off a lot when I was pregnant. I'll be honest about it because I was very, very careful about the products I used. And once I started using those products, I just thought, why am I only careful when I'm pregnant? It should completely be an ongoing thing. And then I started, it almost was like a boost to promote it more and more. And now very often there are DMs of people asking me, I'm pregnant, but I also want to, continue using it for my baby and this and that. So, can you recommend a eco-friendly shampoo or, which containers are non-plastic? So as I'm going along on the journey, I'm also experimenting with brands. I'm able to see the effects of brands. Some, of course, will not suit me or suit my skin, or like even food products. Some will not, I may not like it. That's maybe not be my taste. But at the end of the day, I think that more influencers need to like step out of their comfort zone and just like support small businesses, because right now they are the ones that need the help in the economy the most. So yeah, it's going to be a very long journey. I don't think it's ending anytime soon. But my main part of taking part in this journey is also about being able to teach my kid as much as I can, in his growing up phases, so that he's not my age when he learns that you can live sustainably and zero waste free. So that's a very, very strong point in my mind right now, that I need him to see how I'm behaving so that he can, have that option at least.
And that's pretty amazing. Also, like the point that you were talking about earlier, there was one guest in the podcast, Nitin. He actually, mentioned that one of the P's of sustainability is also profitability. It's okay, like we are doing good work, but we'll be only able to continue doing this if we are profitable.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, profitability is like, because I used to be like very anxious about a lot of things, like money, profitability. Should I ask them? And I used to get these things always, that okay, you are doing good work, I am doing good work. I often remember talking to my team like, should I do this? Like, would not doing this make me a bad person, or like, is it against me? Like
Yeah.
a lot of doubts, like a lot of different
Yeah.
arguments used to go
Yeah.
into my mind. That
Yeah.
kaise?
Yeah.
But I think Nitin was the one person who really made that thing clear to me, that that profitability is an integral element of sustainability.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes,
But that,
that
like
is
you
there.
said,
And
right?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, like you said, that takes courage itself, right, to ask. Because if both people are doing something good, that whole thing of, should I just let it go this time? I'll just do it this time.
Yes.
That's like a rotating thought, right? Which I think we as people need to like step out of, because otherwise, how do we sustain ourselves?
That definitely is there. And also, like when you mentioned about influencers, one thing that I really noticed was that, I feel that there are very few influencers who really feel for the product, because I have received products from brands, and I really, because I know the story behind the product, I don't know, I just find a different kind of attachment with the product. And I feel that,
Right.
it's not just a product, it's someone's hard work, it's someone's struggles, it's someone's, that
Yeah.
cycle of patience. And not many
Yeah.
influencers understand that. I think this is one of the like other elements that I really wanted to ask you, Sonia, that
Yeah.
when you receive a product, Like, how do you
Yeah.
feel about the product? Like, once a product comes to you, like, do you have in mind, nahi yaar, isko to aise banana hai, like I really want people to know this kind of thing about this product. So how do you plan it out?
So I think, just for example, right now I have received 3 to 4 products. Okay, so one is jewelry, one is a garment, and one is something to do with beauty. The first thing that I look at the product is how it's packed. So for me, that is it's because I also had a sustainable, eco-friendly brand, and I like it is a lot of work to get eco-friendly packaging from the tape to the label. Like it's absolutely impossible and very expensive to that for that whole process. So I feel that brands that are taking that initiative need like to be really commended on that, because it is a lot of effort. So that's the first thing I look at, and I always do an unboxing just to show viewers that this is how the brand has come to me exactly the way it has. So whether it's come in a plastic container, whether it's come in a box with craft paper bubble wrap, I always want my audience to see the actual authenticity of the packaging. And then I often plan with beauty. I take my time. I completely take my time. With fashion, of course, because I've studied it and I've been in the industry for 10 years, I'm able to shoot it quicker and give my opinion a bit quicker. Um, Now, of course, it's a whole new world with baby clothes and toys and, green toys and wooden toys. And so that I'm still like completely researching and trying to get my head around it, and one like actually going one step at a time with that. So a lot of my time goes researching products and how they are actually eco-friendly with babies. But with beauty and fashion, I really love to shoot outdoors. I know now it's a struggle, but whenever I go, like I keep my pieces and my products for that time, because I feel like you need to do justice to the brands also if you're promoting them. And it's literally because I've lived it and I have worked with influencers as a designer, so I know what I expected. So I feel it's very important to give the brands. I mean, of course, it works for my. It's a double win, right? Your page looks better, and the brand's page looks better. So, but like I said, I feel that it needs to be a gradual process. For example, if someone gives you a plant, like a seed tag or something, and now almost every garment or even beauty products come with their seed tags. So I've got like 6 plants outside just with seed tags. So I often try to wait till something has bloomed to post a picture of it with the product, and and I feel like more and more brands are understanding, but you will have a few that are like, we sent you a product a week ago, why haven't you posted it? So with them, I'm like completely upfront. I was like, because I haven't experienced it as yet, and my point is to give an authentic and transparent response. And that is now how my pitch is, that if you want to work with me, I will be completely, because I've learned right from the past that and it's fair. Brands sometimes do contact you last minute. They want you to be a part of their launch, etc., etc. But then I'm not going to talk about your product. So I can talk about my journey and how important sustainability is, and plastic-free switches I've made. But and I'm not going to talk about your product if I've not felt it or experienced it.
Like it must have like taken such a long time to gain this kind of confidence in what you're doing and what you believe in, because I have seen people, like a lot of people who are coming into the space. Sometimes like they feel that, should I do this, should I not do this, am I doing the right thing? But I feel that, like with your journey also, it is giving me right now a lot of motivation, because I think this was one of the things that we were really talking in the morning. And
Yeah.
like hearing this from you, I honestly feel that maybe I'm not alone in this. Like I'm not alone feeling these things. Like
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
normal and this happens with everyone, and maybe it's
I
just
think it
about the
has to,
journey.
right? Like it's your everyone's inner battles, right, that they're going through. And I mean, I had a really, really tough time, even not only with viewers, like with my family. I mean, how do you suddenly tell people or stores, there's store owners who meet me now and they're like, oh, we've not had a collection for you from so long. And I'm like, yeah, I've stopped. And then it's like, oh my God, you've stopped, like something must have gone wrong. So it's honestly, it's been a long journey, and it's a lot to do with my journey into spirituality also. That changed a lot for me 5 years ago. Like, just my thought process completely changed. And with designing, it's very, very competitive, and you tend to compare yourself with everyone and everything. And I mean, actually, maybe with other industries as well. I'm just putting my thoughts out there. But I actually expected to feel much, much worse when I closed down my workshop, because it was 10 years that I had been working. But I felt very relieved. I felt like I don't have to deal with workers anymore. I mean, my tailors, there would be days that I would scream and shout and then feel bad in the night. I don't have to deal with seeing waste fabric on the floor anymore. There were so many things that, like, it was just like, wow. I think I needed to do this much earlier. But it was definitely, once I started believing in the law of cause and effect, and what you give comes back to you, was when I started making these sort of changes in my life, in my work. It's still very, like, it's just been 6 years since I've been practicing Buddhism, which basically helped me make these changes. But at the end of the day, it's completely, it's not only about prayer, right? It's also about your thought process changing. Like, people can sit and pray the whole day if they want, but at the end of the day, unless you're actually making changes in your actions day to day, nothing's going to change outside. So even in the way you speak to a person, like if you speak rudely to a person, you can't expect them to just keep smiling at you and say, yeah, okay, I'll accept whatever you say. Maybe once, twice, but the third time they're going to be like, are you crazy? How can you keep speaking to me like this? So the same way, every thought and action has a repercussion. And the more I kind of understood that, the more I stopped doubting, the more I stopped thinking so much. I was a complete overthinker. I could spend nights and nights thinking about things. And the more I started just like enjoying the process. And I think once you start enjoying the process, then like motivation is soaring, right? Then you're like, what have I got to lose? I'm doing something good for myself, for the planet. This is actually the right way of life. You give yourself that hope and that, if you feel good at the end of the day, that's all that matters. You've done your work for the day, whether it's spiritually, whether it's mentally, whether it's physically, you feel good. And I feel like that's what this thought process and this philosophy has taught me, that life is not supposed to be so difficult and so complicated as we make it, and that's what sustainable living is all about. You can live a slow, peaceful, pure life without being like in the depths of poverty or not being able to earn money. It's not about that I give up everything. That would be 100% sustainable, that I don't have anything then, which I don't think any of us living in cities right now are interested in doing, or it's on our bucket list, So it's about that balance also of getting things that you want. It doesn't mean that we have to live a sad life. It's about enjoying life, but enjoying life in a clean and good and healthy way.
Like just being mindful of every moment, just being mindful of everything that you're doing. I think like my yoga, like I was talking about this thing recently with my yoga teacher only. She just like told me one thing, that like when you're eating food, eat food. When you're doing something, do that. Like just be
Absolutely.
mindful and of every moment. And I feel like
Yeah.
sustainability has a lot to do with mindfulness, because like sometimes my father tells me कि हमारे ज़माने में like ऐसा नहीं होता था ऐसा, and then I realize that why, because maybe they were just enjoying every moment they were living. Maybe they didn't have this kind of luxury, but they were just living into the moment and just being present. And so they knew that, why am I doing this? Do I really need this clothing piece, or do I really need that food? Or like, if there is food left, should I
Absolutely.
just give it to someone? I feel that it has like, that's what, do you think, like I may be wrong, so like you have much more experience than me, but I sometimes feel that maybe they were living mindfully. That's why
I
sustainability was
agree.
so strongly ingrained into them. And today we
I
just like, even
agree.
if I talk about myself, I try to do this now, that even if I'm doing something, I'm on my phone just constantly checking
Absolutely. I was
messages,
just going to say
mails.
that. Yeah.
I feel that
I was just
attention
going to
time
say
span
that.
maybe has reduced, and that's why like this thing somehow just comes up.
I completely agree. Like every time when I come to eat dinner or lunch with my parents, and my grandmom is there, and she was like, "Oh, in our times, we didn't even have a phone. Forget, bringing the phone on the table." And it's like when you're eating, eat your food. And I always say, "Yeah, yeah, I have something busy. I have a very important message to send. Or I have to respond to this right now," which is not true. It could easily wait. But what
Yes.
I'm also seeing is that now my baby looks at me or looks at my husband in a way like when we are on our phones, like almost like shattered, like why would you be on your phone when I'm right in front of you? And I'm seeing this effect happening, and I'm telling myself this is happening, it's because of you it's happening, but I'm still unable to keep my phone in the
Right.
room. It's a crazy, like it's just now about conditioning that I have to tell my, and even when I'm talking to you about this, I'm like, okay, from tomorrow you're not bringing your phone on the table. But it's mental conditioning, right, at the end of the day.
And I think it has like a lot to do with, because like just living in the moment. Like for example, like I used to all like think about okay, what's gonna happen in the future, how are things gonna turn out to be. But I think that it's like again like going back to the previous point, it's just living in the present, enjoying the process, as you said.
Absolutely.
And also, like Sonia, you were talking about this thing earlier, that when you really switched from, like you were running your own label to being an ethical influencer. So, like, how did your family react to it? Like, were they happy? Did they understand? Did the people understand? And if not, like, did their notions or did their perspectives really, kind of bothered you on a personal level?
So I think there was disappointment, definitely. I think my husband was probably the only one who understood um, and supported me. Uh, it took a while for my parents to actually like see that I'm actually working with something else. My it and also my friends, right? They'll always like send me stuff to do with designing, or a lot of them don't understand. But that being said, a lot of them right now, since the past lockdown, this last 1 year, have really gotten into sustainable living. So they are absolutely purchasing the products that, and I'm seeing it, right? Like I went on a trip out of Bombay a few weekends ago, and I had promoted this water bottle, this sustainable water bottle, and I have it. I have it with me, and everyone on the trip had the bottle, and they were like, they don't tell me that they're doing it, but everyone has purchased this bottle. And it's like, wow, guys. They were like, yeah, yeah, we saw it on your page, and they look really nice. And so even it was a great feeling actually, because like now I get stopped at places with my friends. We're like, oh, that face mask you recommended, I'm using it. And it's not like you get direct DMs with people telling you this, but like it's great when in person people are telling you, oh, you're doing really good stuff and keep it up. So that also kind of keeps you going. But that being said, it was crazy amounts of doubt to get the switch. Of course, it was like bittersweet because I still have stock that I'm selling at different places. I don't want anything to go to waste. So I gift lots of pieces to my friends, because in a shoot, even if there's like a slight damage, you can't sell it at a store. So there is dead stock that I still have to get rid of. Um, but I didn't want anything to go to waste from my workshop, so I made sure that like a person who has another studio, took my machines at a lesser price. My mannequin went to another tailor. I wanted to make sure that if it's being used so much, it goes to a proper place. So it was quite a crazy journey to even shut down, but I don't regret it at all. I don't regret it, and
And
I'm
when you like started up, did you like had those kinds of things कि अगर ये नहीं चला तो what would I do, or what will people say? Like, did that sort of like thing happened?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think when I shut, I didn't have any plan of doing this. It was like more like I'm done. I want to take a break. I had gone into the eco-conscious clothing, but I hadn't thought of influencing because also my work had a lot of social media attached to it, right? Just brand selling and pop-ups, etc., etc. So I was just like, I need a break from everything. And I moved to Dubai actually at that time. So it was a quick shot. I got married at the same time. My husband was staying there, so we moved there. And at that was actually when I said, okay, I'm not the type to just sit doing nothing, right? I realized when I went there. So I started teaching fashion at a school there. And while teaching fashion, I kind of started going into the sustainability angle of fashion, of being zero waste, etc. Uh, and started kind of reviewing products for international magazines in Dubai. So a lot of people would send me the product. At that time, there was no payment. I was just doing it to be able, because I'd never even experienced completely clean beauty products. I was going through a complete detox. My hair, my skin, everything was like feeling these natural products for the first time because I had a lot of skin problems also through my teen years. So I have used like the harshest chemicals on my skin to get rid of things. So it was like a complete journey from the beginning, that I'm actually using it, experiencing it, writing about it. That started getting attention. Then for 1 year, I was only writing about it in magazines. And then I started influencing and posting it on Instagram. And it started like a very natural, sort of slow, I will not say fast at all, very, very slow start to the point where now it's become quite active and I have to make sure that I'm keeping track of, everything some things just come as gifts, right? So then I have to keep track of everything that's come and how long I'm using for a product for before posting it, when the product has come to me, so I'm able to schedule. So it's become quite busy, which is not something I expected, but I'm glad. I'm glad that more brands are taking this seriously and that it's going in a good and healthy direction.
And also, Sonia, like for someone who really wants to start his or her journey into this arena to being a ethical influencer, what would you tell them to be prepared for, or something that social media doesn't tell? Because on social media, sometimes everything looks glamorous, it just looks good. So,
Yeah.
what would your advice to be someone who really wants to
So
be
I
into the
think
space of ethical influencing?
with followers, you have to be extremely careful because it's very easy to get followers that are spam, giveaway accounts, men. Just recently, I put up a post where I said, like, every 2 weeks, I kind of delete spam followers because they're not adding to me. And there are people who send me some ridiculous messages at times. So I am deleting those people because they don't add value to me or to my page. I think people have to be prepared for no's. I think people have to be prepared for saying work for free, especially in the beginning, till you kind of build, some sort of page for yourself. And I think people have to be prepared to know when to say no to work for free, more importantly. Because it doesn't mean you have to post every day. It doesn't mean you have to have a brand endorsement every day, but it means that sometimes just being your authentic self also, and just like a family picture or something you genuinely believe in, a personal post will get you much further than making sure you put brand campaigns up every single day. So it's and you have to be like prepared for backlash and comments which sometimes you don't want to hear or see, or hard questions which will come up and say, oh, but you're promoting a sustainable lifestyle and you're not vegan, how does that work? So that's a question I've got completely through my journey, and it's had like some very, very rude comments, and and another newer thing is that you talk about being sustainable and you've had a child, so you should be kind of it's so there are things that everyone has their own idea of sustainable, of being eco-friendly, zero waste, etc. So you have to be very true to your journey and have your answers ready, I would say. But apart from that, just to enjoy it because it's something you're doing from because you believe in it, right? You're not doing it actually as it's my money. Of course, it will make you money, but it's more that you should be absolutely true to yourself with your posts.
Definitely, and like I feel that sustainability is like, you have to walk in a collaborative approach. For example, you know something, I can be inspired from you, I know something, you can. And it's sometimes, I feel that this is one of the reasons that people don't speak like completely transparently about what, like, the kind of lifestyle they're leading, because
Yeah,
they feel like there's a fear of being judged,
yeah, yeah,
that like if I say this, like maybe someone's gonna judge me. And I
yeah,
feel that that really needs to open up, and people really need to understand that everyone is on a different journey, and like we
absolutely.
really need to handhold each other, walk forward. But I
Yeah,
like, this is one thing that I have also heard, like, from so many people, that that fear of being judged
yeah,
is one other aspect that's really stopping people in talking openly about challenges that they face while adopting a sustainable lifestyle.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean that's again like everyone's own journey, right? Of how they also behave if someone is judging them, and that's going to happen. People are going to have comments about you, especially if you're putting yourself in a public profile. You can't expect people not to. People have a lot of time on their hands also these days, right? To like really go into depth of a person, but it's about how much you take in and how much you throw out. So
And also, like, Sonia, because like because today the word influencer is very loosely used.
yeah.
So like, what is your definition of an influencer? Who do you
So
think
you
is an
know,
influencer?
so actually, it's really funny because I didn't really think much of this word, but a few months ago, a friend came to me and she was like, "You influenced me." So I said, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, you influenced me." And she's like, "I have to show you something." And she like took the obviously on video call because we're not meeting. She took the video into her bathroom, and like half the products she had were things that I had posted. And she was like, "See what I mean? You influenced me." And I was like, "Okay, that obviously this is working somehow." But I don't really think much about it. But I guess it is somehow I feel my work kind of throwing light on products that people are not easily available. So that is my thought behind it. That I need to make sure that, say for example, right now I'm talking to a brand who's actually going to do something like a plant consultation with me to
Okay.
say that, and I would love to promote them. I'm not going to charge them because I feel like a lot of people would benefit from just knowing how, if you're using your seed tags to plant something and it's not growing and you've now got a plant which is just not flourishing. There is a page which you can go to which gives you like a monthly subscription of how to make sure your plants flourish. So there are these interesting things and interesting people doing amazing things which needs to be promoted more, which needs to like be emphasized on more. I mean, things like, for example, just an example, like during pregnancy, a very common problem is dry scalp, okay? And it's not spoken about much because some people probably think, oh, it's a very embarrassing problem to have. I have dandruff, it's an embarrassing problem. But there's a brand that makes like an entire kit, of an anti-dandruff hair mask, an anti-dandruff shampoo, and an anti-dandruff spray, which I've been trying, and it's like worked miracles, on me. So I was just like, why do people not know about this? Especially, people who are going through pregnancy, post-pregnancy, or even like during monsoon or something like that, when your scalp gets dry. So there are these amazing products which people are making out of completely. It's made out of aloe and lime, etc., which can make a huge difference. So I think my main job is to find these and then make them available to my consumers, basically.
That's amazing. I think your bio also reads like that, your Instagram bio.
Yeah, yeah. Sustainable
Okay.
solutions, yeah.
Yes. Also, like, as you were talking earlier about Buddhism, like you mentioned that, you practice Buddhism. I think I saw somewhere that when, like, while the time you started practicing Buddhism, you were facing like a really rough patch, like, in your life at that point of time. So,
Yeah.
like, what really gave you the strength and motivation to practice it, like, consistently and with an open heart? And how has that experience shaped you?
So I think when I started, firstly, I didn't think I could do something every day, especially not prayer. I wasn't that sort of person at all. I completely doubted even like doing it once a week, you know. I was like, I'm too busy for this. That was my first answer. My second was that, and in Buddhism, you have to pray twice a day. You have to meet people that you don't know. I'm not that person. To I was like, I'm not gonna go into a group of strangers and talk about myself. That's absolutely just not up my alley at all. I have my own friends, and these were like the initial thoughts, and I was, yeah, absolutely in a very rough patch. I had broken up with my ex-boyfriend at that time. My business, my clothing business, an investor had like completely ripped me off. So I was like at my lowest of lows. Um, and my aunt actually told me in a very like, uh, that's the thing with Buddhism is it's voluntary. You don't, no one's telling you to do it. You do it if you want to do it to change your life. And she was like, try it for a month, and if you don't like it, don't do it. You know, no one's forcing you to do anything. You want a difference in your life. So I started it, and I did it somehow very diligently. I actually hid at home while doing it, not because I thought anyone would have anything against it, but I didn't know what to tell anyone, right? Like, what's suddenly going on in my life to the point where I literally pray in the bathroom with my washing machine on, so no one would hear me. So it was literally to that extent of hiding, and then one day, I think my sister came home and I was in my bedroom doing it. And she was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" So I said, "Okay, now I can't lie." So I told her what I was doing, and she was like, "Oh, that's why you become better." So I was like, "What do you mean better?" And she was like, "Oh, you become much nicer." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So obviously, like changes had started
Right.
happening already, and I didn't even realize it. You know, it's kind of like it started to clean me or whatever. My thoughts, I don't know exactly what was happening. But 6 months down the line, it made such a difference to me that my whole family started practicing, my friends started practicing. Um, my in-laws, my sister-in-law, my husband, everyone, my kid is obsessed with it. So basically, the minute he wakes up, he's like this. So I'm like, I can't do it now. Let's like little later. And every time I stop praying, he's like this. I'm like, oh my god, I did it so much when I was pregnant that it's like now in him. But the whole it's not even about the praying. It's about the philosophy of just understanding that what you do is going to come back to you. You know, so you want to be good to people. You want to be good to the planet. You want to be good to anyone or anything, it'll come back to you. It's not an overnight process. That again is a struggle of like every time you want to do it, you'll think of 1,000 excuses. You know, I'd rather watch TV. I'll do it after 5 minutes. It's that constant battle with yourself.
I've done
But
that with my yoga classes millions
I
of
mean,
times.
exactly, right? Anything good takes so much convincing from yourself to do,
Yes.
but it has like without any doubt, I can say it's completely changed my life. Like it's completely changed my aspect with relationships, with my family, with my husband. What I thought a perfect relationship should be, everything has changed. What I thought perfect work should be, what I thought a perfect life should be. Of course, there'll be like downslides here and there. And then I have to remind myself, oh, okay, hello, you went there before,
Right.
snap out of it quickly. But I mean, to the point that it's made such a big difference in my life that my husband and I had a Buddhist wedding, and we introduced almost 100 people to it at our wedding, who also now around the world are practicing and having benefits from it. Um, I wouldn't say that everyone is as committed to it as I am or my family is, but this is something that you have to experience. And I think the thing I liked about it is that until you get proof, you should not be promoting it. So only when I actually saw proof, and when my sister told me, "Oh, you become nicer," then I was like, "Oh, okay, so something has happened." And there've been too many experiences for me just to ignore that. There's been like I wouldn't say like just unexpected things that will start happening, but it's the main philosophy of like you do good, you get good back. There's no two ways about it. It's logical, you know. It's literally like there's you can't escape falling sick, you can't escape death, you can't escape illness, but you can escape being rude and hurting people and have them hurt you back because that's in your hands. So I think that's almost like the basis and the crunch of the philosophy, which I try to follow. Even if I can't pray as much now because I have a baby, I try to embed that philosophy just in daily life. Like exactly what you said. Like you completely reminded me of the present moment thing, which I have obviously happily put out of my mind for a while now. But to be in the present moment is one of the main things they teach, is that when you're there, be there and nowhere else, you know. So I guess yoga, and it's all so connected, spirituality, everything is, you know, it's all just one big thing that's teaching us to better ourselves. So yeah, so that's where
That's there, like just like just the last thing. I think like I was just talking to my yoga teacher the other day. I was like, there's some fear in me. So she was like, you're living in future. Living in future gives you fear.
yeah,
Surrender to the
absolutely.
God. Have that trust, and just start living more consciously.
Yeah.
So I think yes, like that definitely is there. I think that like the point that you mentioned about Buddhism, that when you had to prove yourself, only then you told people. I think that really like reflects in your work as well now. Like all these things have
Yeah.
been like just so beautifully embedded. Like like not just to like say you, but like when I looked at your profile, when I looked at your pictures, there was really this sense of positivity. Like there was some positivity that I could feel. Like be it the smile, like it was literally as pure as it can be.
Thank
I
you. How
think
sweet.
so that I don't know, like Sona, I really feel that when you're doing good, when you're doing the good thing, when you're doing it from the heart, people really connect with it. I think with
Yeah.
you that definitely is there. And once again, like thank you for doing the good work. Thank you for
No,
spreading goodness around.
and thank you for being so patient with my ridiculous schedule. We've been like knocked
No,
down
no,
with
no, no.
one sickness after the other in this house, and it's literally just been
It
going
was
back
meant
and
to
forth.
happen today, and as we say, the stars align and just happen at the
Yeah,
best moment it can happen. So
yeah,
like
true.
definitely thank you so much for doing what you do,
Thank
and
you,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Today morning also we were facing like all these little battles which I was having in my head. Talking to you, it makes me feel more calmer. It makes me trust the process even more, that it's
Great.
okay, like I'm not alone, we all are in this, and it's okay to feel that way
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah.
So
Of
thank you
course.
so much, Sonia.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.